Thank you, Emily and Yelena, for that beautiful gathering music. Good morning, beloveds. When you make a mistake, when something pushes you down, how do you bounce back? Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. I'm Terra Louise, a petite white woman with medium-length brown hair, wearing purple and gray, which are Mimi's favorite colors. And today is my last day as our Director of Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment. And we are talking about core values and resilience. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign our guest book in the foyer. You can also speak with our greeter, Mike McNaughton, or Anna Delane or Rebecca Howard, who are co-chairs of the membership committee. For kids here in our service, we have our activity table in the front, and we ask kids to use whisper voices. You can stay with your grown-ups, or you can also hang out in the library. And Sarah's here for the younger kids in the nursery. And after Time for All Ages, kids will go with Elizabeth to our World Blessings class in the kitchen. We have our Candles of Community area over here and in the back, and you're encouraged to come up before prayer or meditation to light a candle or write a joy or sorrow to be read aloud. If you are in need of pastoral care or support, or even financial assistance with grocery cards or funds from the ministry discretionary fund, please contact Reverend Tina DeYoe to set up an appointment. Reverend Tina is out this morning attending a friend and colleague's memorial, but we'll be back this week if you are in need of setting up an appointment. And now, you are invited to greet your neighbor, which is one of my favorite activities that Rev Tina and I brought back when we started working together. This is a time for you to say good morning to those around you, greet those familiar, and reach out to someone you might not know. I will call us back with a chime.
It does not bounce as well as I had hoped. This. It is rubber, but. So the announcements today are, there's a poetry book sale. It's not a reading. Today, after church, with Henry Finney and our own Kelly DeLacy in fellowship right after church. Today, the forum is also happening at 11:45 after church. What? And I really need glasses. I can't read what it says on that.
It says 11:45, it's supposed to be probably closer to 12.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 12. Okay, the most common fraud scams in New Mexico with Sergeant Benjamin Irving. And also there's a open meetup lunch at the Co-op Cafe around 1 p.m. on most Sundays and definitely today. Also, the Wolf Multi-Generational UU Camp registration is open. This event takes place at Ghost Ranch from June 15th to June 21st. and it'll be open from February 7th to April 1st. Go to the website if you want more information. And also, I just want to encourage you again to go ahead and if you're going to write something in our Joys and Sorrows book, to do it before the prayer time, just so we don't get a big line waiting. Cool. Terra. Oh, please go ahead and silence your cell phones this morning as we begin our worship service together, and any other noise-making devices, like the person next to you.
We come together as a community every Sunday to pause and worship together. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion, calling us to be our better selves. Our worship theme for the month of February is resilience. Today, our worship theme is core values and resilience. Now, let us light our flaming chalice, the symbol of our shared faith. And Ari's going to come up and light the chalice. Ari.
We like this. Hello. 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 Apparently, yeah. Now what? Which one am I using? Okay. We light this chalice for the quiet truths we carry and for the futures we're brave enough to write. In this circle, we honor the courage it takes to live openly, the softness that sustains us, and the joy and power that grow when we gather. As the chalice glows, may we feel steadiness rise in us. May we trust that our becoming, messy, radiant, unfolding, holy belongs to us. To Chalice Lighting by Jamie Yandel. Let us rise in body and our spirit for our opening hymn, 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, and we're going to keep it snappy. Please remain standing and join together in saying our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus we covenant with each and with all.
Come up here, kids. Okay. William, Ari, come sit. I want to tell you something. Beloveds, and especially you kids, thank you all so much for that beautiful card, that thank you card you made for me last week, and all of you for the cake and the cards you signed, the gifts, and the beautiful bag. I felt such an outpouring of love and support, and I appreciate all of you who have recognized the elements of what went into making this decision. Starting next week, other people will be leading this time for all ages, and I'm excited for you to hear from new perspectives. Our granddaughter Liliana just learned to walk, and it was such a joy to see her do so because she would get up and fall down, and get up and fall down, and get up again and fall down again, and now she's learning to talk, which means she moves her mouth and it kind of does what she wants, but it doesn't always, and sometimes makes a sound and sometimes it doesn't. But to see her trying and testing and trying again has reminded me how all of us walking, talking people have gone through this process of failing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying again and again to be able to move about and communicate. This is a hard day for me. I'm going to say goodbye to my office and move all my things out, taking home my books and banner flags and pictures I brought to it. I'm saying goodbye to weekly meetings with Elizabeth and the teamwork we've created together. I'm saying goodbye to dork dancing and noting any one of you who wiggles a little bit. I'm saying goodbye to filling up announcement flyers and to getting to greet each of you as I hand them out on Sunday mornings. And I'm saying goodbye to the way I got to invite you all to my favorite things, like open mic the other night was awesome, and with Peggy helping send out the weekly emails. I'm saying goodbye today to getting to scare myself and get up here in front of you to share something every single week. And while I know I will be around, that I will still create events, that I will still see you, there are so many things I will miss. Today we are talking about core values and resilience. What is resilience? Any thoughts?
Like the refusal to give up?
Yeah, like the refusal to give up. Yeah, and to me, it's also about bouncing back from mistakes and failures and rising up when we've been pushed down. Resilience is about adapting when things don't go as expected and the heartbreaks that we grow through. We have so many incredible examples of resilience in our world. Like Frida Kahlo, who endured unbearable injuries and turned the confinement of her sickbed into art known throughout the world. Like Yuri Shulevitz, who in his beautiful book, How I Learned Geography, was able to use a map to imagine a world beyond the refugee camp he was stuck in. And Malcolm X, who transcribed the entire dictionary while in prison. These people were all trapped, but we don't need to be trapped in beds or behind fences or bars to be resilient. We have opportunities to be resilient every day. Resilience can look like saying no to something that isn't working for you. Resilience can also look like when you tell someone something you didn't think about before you said it, and you go back and apologize. Dave thought I could share how resilience can look like adapting on a trip, like when we needed to get from Venice to Rome. And I got back from my morning walk, and my family was getting packed and being relaxed, and then Dave says, the boat is leaving really soon. And so we get our backpacks and start running, and we're running so as fast as we can to get to the dock where our boat is, and our boat pulls away. So we're standing there, and we're like, uh-oh, because we needed that boat to get to our train. So we're waiting for the next boat. And then we get the next boat, so it takes us to the train station. And we dock there just a few minutes before the train's gonna leave. So we have our backpacks and we run to the train station. We get to the platform, and there's the train. And we get to the train, and the doors are shut, and the train pulls away. And so then we get tickets to the next train, but the next train isn't an express train. We have to stop in Bologna. So we get to Bologna, and then when we're in Bologna, Dave waits at the platform while the kids and I go get amazing, yummy Italian food, what they have even in the train stations. And then he's waving from the platform because we don't want to miss the next train. And so we rush back over to the train, and we get on the train, and we're standing on the train, and the doors close. And then I'm like, wait, the train doesn't leave for 15 minutes. We're on the wrong train. So then we go an hour another direction to another little small city, and then we get out of the train, and we wait in this little tiny waiting room for the next train back to Bologna. And then we get back to Bologna, and we get on the train to Rome. We find a train to Rome, but it's express train. We get on the train, and he says, but you don't have the ticket for an express train. And I said, but this isn't express. It's taken us 10 hours. We've been everywhere. But, oh, sorry. Lost my spot because I started talking. Though sometimes on trips, we have cried or gotten scared or felt like all was a loss. That day, we had the resilience of our connection to each other and our trust in all being on an adventure. And we laughed at ourselves, and we eventually made it to Rome. Resilience can look like how this congregation, it isn't me or any one of us, but something that changes and springs back and takes new forms. My dad talks about how ecosystems have resilience in their diversity and also in their repetition. Resilience is trusting that maybe sometimes you weren't meant to be somewhere for a reason. And resilience is about setting the boundaries you need to have the space you need to love someone. Kendra Sherry says that to have resilience, you need problem-solving skills, strong social connections, emotional regulation, and self-compassion. Part of this is focusing on the things you can control instead of dwelling on the things you cannot change. My core values are connection and growth. I want to do things in relationship with support and collaboration. I want to continuously improve. These core values build my resilience. And because I have social support, and I can approach my mistakes as opportunities to learn to do things differently next time, and get up, and like Liliana, try again. Thank you. And now the kids will go with Elizabeth, are welcome to go with Elizabeth to the kitchen. And today you're making a Yukon gold potato salad.
Lapel mic, cool. I just had it, okay. This month, our offering plate is going to New Mexico Immigrant Law Center. Their mission is to advance justice and equality by empowering low-income immigrant communities through collaborative legal services, advocacy, and education. You can also use the QR code on the screen for the Givelify app to make a donation to New Mexico Immigrant Law Center or directly to our church's general fund. Let us now take the offering, and may what you give brings you joy, and may please get 3 people to help pass the plate. I can always tell when people start lighting candles. And I lost my place. Thank you for your generosity this morning. Your gifts will help the immigrant communities here in our state of New Mexico. Terra?
During this time, you are invited to come up to our Candles of Community space. If you haven't already, you can light a candle and write a joy or sorrow in our book, which is at the front of the table. Joys and sorrows that are written will be read out loud. You're welcome to add your name to what you have written or to remain anonymous. During this time, you can remain seated or join in our meditation song, Amazing Grace. Let us now lift up all we bring with us today, whether shared or held close in our hearts.
Feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. Wiggle your toes as if they were roots. Roots connect you to the earth, lending you strength. Gently sway in the wind, turning your body like the trunk of a tree, leaning this way and that, bending as the air pushes and pulls. What surrounds you may sway you, make you bend and feel unbalanced. Wiggle your toes. Know that your roots can hold you as you grow and learn. A tree is nourished by the soil and water. You are nourished by the food the earth grows and the water it provides. You are cared for and loved by many people. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Still yourself. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle your roots. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again, to be a part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. From Ashley Horan. Anthony. Hello. Yes. Lapel mic. Is it on? Is it on? Can you hear me? They say it's not. There. There we go. Hello, beloveds. I'm going to show you something. This is my core values journal. I started it close to 2 years ago during one of the most painful periods of my life, a time when I was leaving a longtime community because of a clash of professed values and actual behaviors. I was deeply wounded, lost, and confused. I was unsure of myself and my own actions, and what parts were caused by my own conduct and actions, my own faults, my own failings. I was deeply struggling with self-doubt and hopelessness. I increased my therapy sessions to twice a week and started seeing a psychiatrist. My antidepressant medication dosage was increased by 50%. I was prescribed a mood stabilizer and an anti-nightmare PTSD medication. In short, I was a complete mess. During this time, I was also trying to be supportive of my loved ones who were also being affected by the situation. I sent daily virtual hugs and sometimes very real tokens of affection and support via snail mail. Among the people I was trying to support were some who were directly involved in the situation, but were also a part of the problem and the origins of the conflict. And really, I was just a complete mess. This is when I found the Live Your Values deck, illustrated and written by artist Lisa Congdon and co-written by Andrea Niculescu. It's simple enough. It contains 78 cards with values and definitions of those values, and a booklet with deeper descriptions of those values, as well as tips for integrating them more into daily living. One sorts the cards into piles from not important to most important to me. From there, you take the most important values and keep trimming it down by importance until you have your top 10, and then you put those in order. This is when I started my little journal. I listed my top 10 on the first page. I'll even read them to you. 1, love. 2, kindness. 3, courage. 4, justice. 5, compassion. 6, empathy. 7, creativity. 8, inclusiveness. 9, diversity. And 10, generosity. For those of you who know me, that's probably really shocking. And I dedicated a page in this journal, a full page, to each of those values with the definition and the tips on how to integrate them into my life. I disagreed with a number of the definitions, either a little bit or a lot, and so I rewrote them. The rest of the journal, after all that, is blank, and I'm going to leave it blank until I have more to say about my core values in it. By the time I was finishing up this part of writing everything out, the new UUA shared values was starting to be discussed. So I went ahead and listed those next to my top values, just to see. And there really is a great deal of overlap, with love at the center, which was my #1 value. When I finally finished and read and reread what I'd written several times, I felt significantly better. I still hurt. I was still wounded, but I was much surer of myself. I was able to assess my own actions and feelings and how they did or didn't align with my values. I was able to see how the situation and community had become incompatible with the values most important to me. I was stronger and felt more in control. I realized I had lived my values, and my doubts and regrets shrank, and some even vanished. According to Google AI's overview, love those little overviews. I mean, as long as you're not looking up anything really important that has to, definitely be fact, because sometimes it really misleads you. Personal core values are your fundamental beliefs and guiding principles that define what truly matters to you, acting as an internal compass for your decisions, behaviors, and goals, helping you live with purpose, authenticity, and fulfillment by aligning your actions with what you deem most important, like integrity, family, or adventure. They are unique to you, shaped by experiences, and they provide clarity in navigating life's complexities. What they are guiding principles, deeply held ideals that dictate your choices, attitudes, and interactions. They are an internal compass, help you discern right from wrong and find direction when feeling lost. And they are the foundation of identity, help you become your authentic self, influencing your personality and goals. What they do, they guide your decisions, influence major life choices, career paths, and relationships. They provide meaning, give purpose to your life and actions, fostering happiness and self-worth. And they offer confidence, create internal consistency, and reduce conflict when you live in alignment with them. Now, according to APA.org, the website for the American Psychological Association, the definition of resilience reads, the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. A number of factors contribute to how well people adapt to adversities. Predominant among them, the ways in which individuals view and engage with the world, and the availability and quality of social resources and specific coping strategies. Psychological research demonstrates that the resources and skills associated with more positive adaptation, in other words, greater resilience, can be cultivated and practiced. This is also called psychological resilience. There is a lot of overlap between those two definitions and descriptions. I noticed. Did anyone else notice that? Okay. Now, most people here are probably familiar with the flower communion. It is a beloved yearly ritual among most UU congregations. It was created by Norbert Capek and Maria Capek. Unitarian ministers who founded the first Unitarian church in Czechoslovakia, which became, for a time, the largest Unitarian church in the world. When Nazis occupied Czechoslovakia, Maria left to help outside relief efforts, and Norbert remained as minister of their church. Maria was never able to return. Norbert, however, got to continue preaching. I'm sure that you can imagine that his values and what he preached were at odds with the Nazi occupiers. He and his daughter, Zora, were arrested on March 28, 1941 by the Gestapo. He was tried for high treason and sentenced to 1 year, including time served, which at that point was 11 months. Dissatisfied with this judgment, the Gestapo ignored it and sent him to Dachau concentration camp on July 5, 1942. He was held in the Priesterblock, and I'm sure I didn't say that right, also known as Priest Block at Dachau, where he was tortured and eventually sent to Harheim Castle on October 12, 1942, where he was killed in the gas chamber, approximately 1 year and 7 months after his initial arrest. That's a pretty grim story. It feels dark, feels hopeless. It doesn't seem like a tale of resilience. It may even seem like holding tightly to and living his core values is what got Reverend Chapek tortured and killed and did him no good at all. But those who were with him in Dachau and survived tell a different story. They tell how he faced prison, starvation, torture, and death with courage. They tell how even at his most desperate and physically weakest, he possessed power, strength, and resilience, and fed these to the people around him. He offered comfort, kindness, and love to all, even when he knew he was going to be executed soon. He was never going to come out of this life alive. None of us are. But even when evil had its claws holding him tight, his clarity about and grip on his own core values kept him fully alive. Not just surviving, but fully alive. His history is too long for me to go into much more. I recommend that you do some research and read more about Reverend Chapek and his wife and his daughter. They're an amazing family. They're amazing people. I will wrap up with a poem Reverend Chapek wrote in Dachau in a letter to Zora, who had been released from prison by then. This can be found on Worship Webb, which is a UU site. To me, this poem is an active declaration of how Reverend Chapek's values infused his thoughts and his life. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul, you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything would worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who was pressed from all sides but remained victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters, giving wings to the mind, is entering into the golden age of the victorious. By Norbert Fabian Chapek.
Oh, man. What a precious book. Okay, I have a little bit of a story. As a kid, I went to a really small school, and I was the only white kid in my elementary class. I stood out with my hippie mom packing me a lunch full of rice cakes with goat cheese she made from the milk of our goats and soy milk in a little box and homegrown sprouts. The kids made fun of me a lot, and I never really fit in with my blonde hair sticking out. It was really hard. I was kind of like a big joke for most people, and I treasure the few people I knew who were really kind to me, but a lot of people weren't. On the playground, I remember they would bribe me to be the grape lady in their strawberry shortcake game. They would tell me they were going to bring me presents, but they never did. They just wanted me to be the evil one that no one else wanted to be, which is kind of funny because I wasn't very good at it. I was always trying to make sense of things and always kind of confused. And as I got older, I grew to really appreciate that experience because I've learned a lot about race and privilege since then, and I know that this time in my life gave me a lot of compassion and insights. But anyhow, I went to school with the same kids for a really long time. Our school was really underfunded, so most of our classes didn't have very high expectations. When we were in 8th or 9th grade, we had a gym class. And in this class, all the guys in our class wanted to play basketball, and our teacher just let us girls sit on the floor and talk during class. My now husband, Dave, was there because once we were in middle school, we were in the same school, and even though he wasn't that into basketball, he played because that's what the boys did. He remembers us girls sitting in a circle in the middle of the gym floor, right in the middle because there was a circle painted in the middle of the court. So imagine us girls all on the floor and the boys dribbling by. It was there that we talked. And I don't know how exactly it started, but I started sort of leading discussion groups. I would ask the other girls about all sorts of stuff, and we'd have different topics, which is funny because I've also done that throughout my life. Oprah Winfrey, though I've only seen her show a few times, has been a huge influence on me. So we probably talked about our mothers and bands we liked and things we wanted to do. I'm sure I asked people about what they were feeling and what they were thinking, and we talked about all sorts of stuff. I will remind you that these were people who had been very mean to me. And one day in that circle, in the middle of the gym floor, as I sat there in my stonewashed jeans with my fake perm and my stylish bangs covering my eye, they started to talk about how they had treated me and own what had happened when we were kids. We used to call you Reynosa, they said. Do you know what that means, they asked? No. I had learned a lot of Spanish, but not that one. It means filthy. They said it, and then they apologized. They said, we don't think that of you anymore, and we made a mistake, and that wasn't nice. I listened. I learned so much from them. Their ability to apologize helped me not only to forgive them, but to trust them more because they were honest and vulnerable about mistakes they made. I'm grateful for my friends and for what we shared. When thinking of resilience, this story came to mind. What core values do you see at play? It's important not to decide that people are bad because we all have the ability to grow, forgive, and to be vulnerable and to apologize. Even though I am white and I stood out for it, and even though my family had very little money, I was so immersed in that culture. I was like, I'm going to be the one who gets away. I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to do all these things. And I'm going to not get pregnant in school. And I'm going to be the one who goes to college. And I really thought that. It wasn't until I was an adult and I learned more that I was able to understand that I was in a completely different position, that I had generational wealth as a safeguard to my off-the-grid parents, that my parents had been to college, that there was way more opportunity for me. My parents had chosen this remote mountain town and to live off the land. Recently, I went back to my elementary school for one of my friend's kids' graduation parties, held in the same gym we were at when we were little. A slightly older Hispanic man sat down next to me, and we started to chat. I introduced my kids. Somehow we came to the question of where I was from. I said, I had lunch in this room every day for 7 years. And he looked at me somewhat baffled. My experience growing up, being a minority and different from the majority of the kids in school, helped me understand and appreciate a little bit of what it's like to be othered. This experience itself is a privilege, because through it, I've grown to know a wider lens of the world. But it also gave me another huge privilege, because I have an all too rare experience and privilege of deep friendships with diverse people, most of them who are constantly overcoming microaggressions, lack of representation, lack of resources, lack of opportunity and recognition, and who continually teach me what resilience and resourcefulness looks like and can be. Thank you.
Please stand and body your spirit and join us in the first two, the verses 1 and 2 of our hymn, The Fire of Commitment.
Beloveds, how can love be resilient? Many years ago, Reverend John shared something in his sermon that has always stayed with me, which some of you may remember. It was a story about a woman who adopted the boy who killed her son. That, to me, is love beyond belief. May your values give you resilience. May our you values lead you to resilience. May it be so.
Um, Please stand in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn. In our closing song, The Way.